My name is Cassidy, and I'm 28 years old. Right now, I'm standing in the parking lot of Portland International Airport, watching my family walk away from me. My mom, Patricia, my stepdad, Gary, my stepbrother, Bradley, and his wife, Jenna. They're all heading toward the terminal with their suitcases rolling behind them, chatting and laughing like nothing's wrong, like I'm not even here. The flight to Hawaii leaves in 2 hours, and I don't have a ticket. Mom told me 3 months ago, if you cannot afford it, stay behind. I tried so hard. I worked myself nearly to death, trying to come up with $860 for that plane ticket. But here I am, left behind in a parking lot that smells like exhaust and broken dreams. My phone buzzes in my hand. It's a notification from my bank. Another charge just hit my account. I open it with shaking fingers, and my stomach drops straight through the asphalt. $3,440. Gone. And right there in the details, I see her name. Patricia M., authorized user. Wait, these charges are for their tickets. Mom's name is on my card. Before we dive into what happened next, can you do me a favor? Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Have you ever dealt with family drama like this? Hit that like button if you're ready for this wild ride. And subscribe because trust me, you're going to want to hear how this story ends. Now let's go back to where this nightmare really started. I need to take you back a bit so you understand how I ended up here. Growing up in Portland, I had what looked like a normal childhood until I was 15. That's when my dad died in a car accident on Interstate 84. One moment he was driving home from work, the next moment he was gone. A drunk driver crossed the median. My world fell apart that day. My mom, Patricia, struggled for 2 years after that. I watched her cry herself to sleep most nights. I tried to be strong for her, cooking dinners, doing laundry, keeping my grades up, even though I felt like I was drowning. Then when I was 17, she met Gary at some work conference. 6 months later, they got married. Gary seemed nice enough at first. He had this big smile and brought flowers to the house. But he also brought his son Bradley, who was 2 years older than me and already in college. That's when everything shifted. Suddenly, I wasn't the center of Mom's world anymore. I became this awkward addition to their new perfect blended family. Bradley could do no wrong in Gary's eyes, and slowly Mom started seeing him the same way. He got a new car for his 20th birthday. I got a card with $50 when I turned 18. He got his college fully paid for. I was told to take out student loans because they needed to save for retirement. The message was clear. Bradley was the golden child. I was just there. I remember this one Christmas when I was 19. I'd saved up $300 from my part-time job at a coffee shop to buy everyone nice presents. I got Mom this beautiful scarf she'd been eyeing at Nordstrom. I got Gary a book he mentioned wanting. I got Bradley and his girlfriend at the time matching mugs. Christmas morning came and I watched them open presents. Bradley got a new laptop, a ski pass for Mount Hood, and about $800 in gift cards. I got a candle from Target and a generic calendar. Mom didn't even remember which scarf had been talking about when she opened her gift. She said, "Oh, how nice," and set it aside. That was my life for the next decade. Always on the outside looking in. Always hoping that maybe this time, maybe this holiday or this birthday, I'd finally feel like I belonged. But it never happened. I moved out when I was 21. Got my own tiny studio apartment in southeast Portland. It was 500 square feet of freedom, and I loved it even though the heater barely worked and I could hear my neighbors arguing through the walls. I worked my way through college, taking classes at Portland State, while doing freelance graphic design on the side. It took me 6 years to finish my degree, because I could only afford 2 or 3 classes per semester. Mom and Gary came to my graduation, but they left early because Bradley had some golf tournament they wanted to watch. I stood there in my cap and gown, holding my diploma, completely alone while families took photos all around me. After graduation, I built up my freelance business. Graphic design wasn't making me rich, but I was surviving. I averaged about $3,200 a month, which sounds okay until you break it down. Rent was $1,100 for a slightly bigger studio I'd moved into. Student loan payments were $380 every month. I had about 200 in credit card debt from when my car needed new brakes last year. Add in utilities, groceries, gas, and my little emergency fund, and there wasn't much left over. But I kept showing up to family dinners, kept trying, kept hoping that someday Mom would look at me the way she looked at Bradley. That someday I'd get a phone call just to chat, not just when she needed something. I was pathetic, really. A nearly 30-year-old woman still desperate for her mother's approval. Then came March of this year. Mom called me on a Tuesday evening. "Cassidy," she said in that cheerful voice she uses when she wants something. "Come over for dinner this weekend. The whole family will be here. I want to talk about something exciting." My heart actually lifted. Maybe this was it. Maybe she was finally going to acknowledge me as an equal part of the family. Saturday night, I drove to their house in West Lynn. They'd moved there 5 years ago into this beautiful 4-bedroom place with a view of the Willamette River. I pulled up in my beat-up Honda Civic that made a concerning rattling sound, parking next to Bradley's brand-new Tesla. Jenna answered the door. She'd married Bradley 2 years ago in this huge wedding at some vineyard in Dundee. I was invited but not asked to be a bridesmaid. Not even mentioned in any of the speeches. "Hey, Cassidy," Jenna said with that fake sweet voice she always used. "Come on in. Everyone's in the dining room." I walked in and the smell of Mom's pot roast hit me. At least she still made my favorite meal sometimes. Gary was opening a bottle of wine. Bradley was talking about some client had landed. He worked in tech sales and made 6 figures, which he mentioned approximately every 10 minutes. We sat down to eat, and Mom was practically vibrating with excitement. She waited until we'd all filled our plates before she stood up with her wine glass. "I have an announcement," she said. "This July, I'm turning 60. And I've decided that we're all going to Hawaii to celebrate. A real family vacation. 10 days in Maui. I've already found the perfect resort right on the beach." Everyone started talking at once. Bradley immediately pulled out his phone to look at excursion options. Jenna started going on about which swimsuits she needed to buy. Gary was nodding and smiling, saying what a great idea it was. And me, I just sat there with this warmth spreading through my chest. She said we're all going. She wanted me there. This was it. This was my chance to finally be part of the family, Mom continued. "Now, the resort and most of the meals are on Gary and me. That's our gift to the family. But everyone needs to pay for their own flights. I've looked into it, and tickets are $860 per person if we book soon. We need to go ahead and get those purchased in the next few weeks to lock in the price." $860. My brain immediately started calculating. I had about $940 in my checking account after paying all my bills for March. If I could just hold off on buying those new tires I needed and ate nothing but rice and beans for a few months, maybe I could swing it, but it would be tight. Really tight. I must have been quiet too long because Mom looked at me. "Cassidy, you can afford that, right? It's not that much, just $860. Bradley and Jenna already said they're in." I felt everyone's eyes on me. Bradley had this smirk on his face. Jenna was examining her nails. Gary was refilling his wine glass. I said, my voice coming out smaller than I wanted. That's a lot for me right now, Mom. Can I have some time to figure it out?" I wasn't asking for a loan or anything. I just needed time to plan. To pick up extra projects. To make it work. Mom's face did this thing it always does when I disappoint her. Her lips got thin and her eyes went cold. "Cassidy, you're 28 years old. If you cannot afford it, maybe you should stay behind. We can't wait around forever for you to get your finances together." Bradley jumped in. "Come on, sis. It's not that much. I spend more than that on golf clubs. Just save up. Stop buying those fancy coffee drinks you're always posting on Instagram." I felt my face get hot. I didn't even buy fancy coffee drinks. The last Instagram post he was referring to was from 2 months ago, when a friend bought me a latte for my birthday. But there was no point in arguing. Jenna added her 2 cents. "Yeah, just cut down on going out to eat so much. You'll have the money in no time." I ate out maybe twice a month at cheap Thai places. Meanwhile, they posted photos from fancy steakhouses every weekend. "I'll figure it out," I said quietly. "I'll make it work." Mom's face brightened immediately. "Wonderful. This is going to be such a special trip. Family is everything, you know. We finished dinner and they all talked about Hawaii while I pushed pot roast around my plate. I left early, claiming I had a client deadline, and cried the whole drive home. That night, I sat on my apartment floor with my laptop, looking at my bank account. $940. I needed $860 for the flight, which would leave me with $80 for an entire month. That wouldn't even cover groceries. I needed a plan. I opened my freelance project management system and started reaching out to every past client I had. I needed work. A lot of it. And I needed it fast. From March to June, I turned myself into a work machine. I took on every project that came my way. Logo designs, website mock-ups, social media graphics, anything and everything. I was working 14, sometimes 16-hour days. My little studio apartment became my prison. I'd wake up at 6 in the morning, make instant coffee, and work until midnight, then crash. Then do it all over again. I stopped buying anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. My grocery budget became a joke. I ate a lot of peanut butter sandwiches. A lot of ramen. I found this discount grocery store on 82nd Avenue where everything was near expiration. I'd buy dented cans and day-old bread. My friends started noticing. Deanna, who had known since college, called me one day in April. "Cass," she said, "I haven't seen you in weeks. Want to grab dinner?" "I can't," I told her. "I'm swamped with work." Which was true, but also, I couldn't afford to go out. Not even for the cheap happy hour we usually did. "Come on," Deanna pushed. "Just one drink. My treat." I felt embarrassed, but I went. We met at this dive bar in Hawthorne and she took one look at me and her face fell. "Oh my God, Cass. When did you last sleep? You look exhausted." "I'm fine," I lied. "Just busy." Deanna wasn't buying it. "This is about that Hawaii trip, isn't it?" Shed heard the whole story already. Edward vomited it to her over the phone one night when I was particularly tired and vulnerable. "You're killing yourself for $860. "I have to go," I said. "I need to show them I can do it. That I'm not the family failure." Deanna grabbed my hand across the table. "You are not a failure. Your mom is toxic. That whole family is toxic." But I couldn't hear it. I couldn't accept that maybe, just maybe, they weren't worth this. So I kept going. Every week I was adding $200 or $300 to my savings. By the end of April, I had $600 saved up for the ticket. Then May came, and I got offered this huge project from a tech startup. They needed a complete brand identity package. Logo, business cards, letterhead, website design, social media templates. Everything. They were offering $800 and it would take about 2 weeks of solid work. I said yes immediately. I worked on nothing but that project for 12 days straight. Barely slept. Lived on coffee and granola bars. I submitted everything on deadline, feeling proud of myself. Then a week later, I got an email. The startup was shutting down. They'd lost their funding. They couldn't pay me. I sat there staring at my computer screen, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. $800. Just gone. Poof. I called the guy who'd hired me, begged him. I'd already done all the work. He apologized. Said he was in the same boat. The investors pulled out, and everyone was scrambling. "I'm sorry," he said. "I really am. But there's nothing I can do." I hung up and just stared at the wall. It was the end of May. The flight was in 6 weeks. I had $680 saved. I needed to make $180 more. But now I was behind on my projected timeline. Deanna came over that night and found me on the floor, surrounded by empty ramen cups and crumpled tissues. She didn't say "I told you so." She just sat down next to me and put her arm around my shoulders. "This isn't worth it," she said softly. "Just tell them you can't go." "I can't," I whispered. "This is my chance. My chance to be part of the family." "Cass," Deanna said, and her voice was so sad. "If they only accept you when you can pay your way, they're not family. They're just people who share your DNA." But I didn't listen. I couldn't. So I kept pushing. I reached out to old clients again. Offered discounts. Took on rushed projects that paid less but came through faster. I designed a logo for $50 that should have been $200. I made Instagram graphics for $75 that were worth at least $150. I was undervaluing myself and I knew it. But I was desperate. Meanwhile, Bradley was posting all over social media about Hawaii. He bought new board shorts and posted a mirror selfie. "Ready for some waves," the caption said. Jenna posted a photo of 3 new bikinis laid out on their bed. "Can't decide which one to bring, so bringing all 3. Mom commented on every post with heart emojis and excited messages. "My son knows how to live life. My beautiful daughter-in-law, so excited for this family trip." I never posted anything. What would I say? Working myself to death to afford a ticket to a vacation where I'll probably still be treated like I don't belong? Yeah, that wouldn't get many likes. The family group chat was active too. Bradley would send messages every few days. "Yo, Cassidy, you in or out? We need a final head count for the rental car." I'd respond, "I'm in, just waiting for my next client payment to clear." There'd be a long pause. Then Bradley would say something like, "Cool, don't flake last minute though. Don't flake." Like I was the unreliable one. Like I hadn't been working myself into the ground for 3 months trying to make this happen. But I bit my tongue. I always bit my tongue. By mid-June I was so close. I had $820 saved. Just 40 more to go. Then my car broke down. The transmission started making this grinding sound, and when I took it to the mechanic, he said it would be $350 to fix. I wanted to cry right there in the auto shop. "I don't have $350, I told him. "Can you do anything cheaper?" He looked at me with pity. "I can patch it for now for $150, but it won't last more than a few months." "Do the patch," I said. So there went $150, back down to $670. 10 days before the flight, and I was further from my goal than it'd been in weeks. I stayed up all night that night taking on 3 rush projects. Made $250 in 36 hours. Felt like I was going to pass out. Deanna texted me. "Please eat something besides ramen." I replied with a thumbs up emoji but didn't actually eat anything except crackers because I was too nauseous from exhaustion and stress. July was approaching fast. The flight was July 15th. It was July 1st and I had $920 in my account. Enough. I finally had enough. I sat there looking at my bank app, feeling this wave of relief and exhaustion crash over me. I'd done it. Against all odds, I'd actually done it. But then reality set in. After I bought the ticket, I'd have $60 left. Rent was due August 1st, and it was $1,100. I'd need to make over $1,000 in July just to cover rent, plus food and utilities. It was possible, but I'd have to keep this insane pace going. No breaks, no rest, just work. I thought about calling Mom, telling her I had the money. But something made me hesitate. Some little voice in my head that sounded a lot like Deanna saying this isn't right. This isn't how family should work. Then my phone rang. "Mom," I answered. "Hey, sweetie," she said, and I could hear she was in a good mood. "Listen, I know money's been tight for you." I felt a little flutter of hope. Was she about to offer to help? "I'm okay, Mom. I actually have enough now to book my flight." "That's wonderful," she said, but then her voice shifted. "Actually, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. I have an idea that might make things easier for you." I sat up straighter. Easier sounded good. "What do you mean?" "Well," she said, "what if I book your flight for you? You can pay me back slowly over the next few months. That way you don't have to worry about having enough money right now for rent and everything else." I was confused. "That's really nice, Mom, but I have the money. I can book it myself." "I know," she said quickly. "But this way you have a cushion. You know, in case something comes up." I heard the subtext. She didn't trust me to actually do it. But part of me was also touched. This was the most consideration she'd shown me in years. Maybe things really were changing. "Okay," I said slowly. "That would actually be really helpful. Thank you." "There's just one thing," Mom said, and something in her tone made my stomach clench. "I need to use your credit card to book it." I frowned. "My credit card? Why not yours?" Mom laughed, but it sounded forced. "It's complicated, honey. Gary and I are reorganizing our finances, moving things around. My cards are maxed out temporarily, but just because we're moving credit limits and all that banking stuff, It'll be cleared up soon, but I don't want to wait and have the prices go up. That made sense, I guess. I didn't really understand finances that well, but something felt off. Mom, I don't know. That makes me nervous. Cassidy, Mom said, and now her voice had that edge to it. That cold edge I knew so well. I'm trying to help you. If you don't trust me, that's fine. Just book it yourself. I'm trying to do something nice here. No, no, I said quickly, panic rising. I'm sorry. I do trust you. Of course I do. So give me your card number, Mom said. I'll book the flight tomorrow and you'll have your ticket by the end of the week. My hand shook as I reached for my wallet. I read her the 16-digit number, then the expiration date, then the security code. I'm putting you down as my authorized user, she said, just in case there are any issues. Okay, I said, my mouth dry. Thank you, Mom. No problem, sweetie. This is going to be such a great trip. Our family together in Hawaii. I can't wait. After we hung up, I sat there feeling weird. Deanna's voice echoed in my head. If they only accept you when you can pay your way, they're not family. But Mom was helping me. She was making it easier. That was a good thing. Right? I tried to push the uneasy feeling away. I had work to do. Projects to finish. Money to make for August rent. I couldn't afford to second-guess this now. The next few days were strange. Mom had said she'd book the flight, and I'd have my ticket by the end of the week. It was July 3rd, then July 4th, then July 5th. No email confirmation, no ticket. I checked my spam folder obsessively. Nothing. I texted Mom. Hey, did you get a chance to book that flight yet? She replied a few hours later. Working on it. The website keeps glitching. Don't worry. But I was worrying. The flight was in 10 days. I distracted myself with work. I had 2 projects due that week, and I threw myself into them. But every time my phone buzzed, I grabbed it, hoping for that confirmation email. It never came. July 7th. Still nothing. I called Mom. It went to voicemail. I left a message trying to sound casual and not panicked. Hey Mom, just checking in about the flight. Let me know when you get a chance. She texted back 2 hours later. Sorry, been busy. I'll get it done this weekend. Deanna came over that night with Thai food. She took one look at me and said, You look like you're going to throw up. I told her what was happening. She set down her pad Thai. Cass, this feels wrong. Call your credit card company. Check if there have been any charges. Don't be paranoid, I said. Mom's just busy. Busy for a week? Deanna asked. It takes 5 minutes to book a flight online. Something's not right. But I didn't check. I was too scared of what I might find. Or maybe I was too scared of what I wouldn't find. Scared that if I looked and there was nothing, it would mean Mom had forgotten. That I wasn't important enough to remember. The weekend came and went. Monday, July 10th. 5 days until the flight. I called Mom again. This time she answered. Hey, sweetie, what's up? Her voice was cheerful. Too cheerful. Mom, I don't have my ticket yet. The flight is in 5 days. I know, she said. I'm on it. Actually, funny story. The first booking didn't go through. Something about the payment processing, but I'm redoing it today. What do you mean it didn't go through? I asked. My heart was pounding. Did it charge my card? I don't think so, Mom said breezily. Like I said, it didn't process. But don't worry, I'll fix it. Can you just send me the confirmation when you do it? I asked. So I know it worked? Of course, she said. I'll email it to you as soon as it's done. Love you, sweetie. She hung up before I could respond. I immediately opened my credit card app. My hands were shaking so badly I had to try 3 times to get my password right. When the screen loaded, I scrolled through recent charges. July 9th. Charge from Hawaiian Airlines. $860. My ticket, Shed booked it. Relief flooded through me. See Deanna, I thought. She did it. Everything's fine. Then I saw another charge. Same day. Hawaiian Airlines. $860. I scrolled more. Another one. $860. 3 charges. 3 tickets. All on July 9th. All from Hawaiian Airlines. I felt cold. Then I saw more charges. July 10th, Wailea Resort and Spa, $680. Paradise Car Rentals, $180. My vision started to blur. I refreshed the app, thinking maybe it was a mistake. The charges were still there. 4 transactions. $3,440. All posted, all cleared. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. Those were their tickets. Bradley's ticket, Jenna's ticket, Mom's spa package, their rental car, all on my card, all with Mom's name as the authorized user. My phone rang and I answered without looking at who it was. Cass? It was Deanna. You okay? You sound weird. I couldn't form words. She charged my card, I finally whispered. For all of them. Not just me. All of them. What? Deanna's voice went sharp. What are you talking about? $3,440. Deanna. She used my card for their tickets, for their spa package, for their car rental. My account is negative. I'm negative $1,810. I'm going to throw up. Silence on the other end. Then Deanna said something I won't repeat, but it involved a lot of creative cursing about my mother. That is fraud, Cass. That is literal fraud. Call your bank right now. Call the police. Call someone. But I just sat there on my apartment floor, staring at my phone screen. The red negative number seemed to be getting bigger every time I looked at it. Negative $1,810. I didn't even have enough to buy groceries. I definitely didn't have rent money. I was drowning and my own mother had pushed me under. I didn't sleep that night. I tried calling Mom at least 20 times. Every call went to voicemail. I texted her. Mom, we need to talk. Now. Nothing. I texted Bradley. Did you know Mom used my card for your ticket? He responded hours later. What are you talking about? Then he stopped replying too. The night crawled by. Every hour felt like 10 years. At some point around 4 in the morning, I must have dozed off because I woke up to my phone alarm screaming at me. July 15th. Flight day. For a second, I'd forgotten everything. Then it all came crashing back. I grabbed my phone and checked my bank account again, hoping maybe I'd dreamed it. Nope. Still negative. Still drowning in red numbers. I had 3 missed calls from my landlord and 2 from the credit card company. I couldn't deal with any of it. I threw on jeans and a hoodie. Didn't bother with makeup. Didn't eat anything because my stomach was a rock. The flight was at 10:30 in the morning. I called an Uber with the last $20 in my PayPal account. The whole ride to the airport, I was planning what I'd say. I'd confront Mom, demand answers, make her fix this. We pulled up to departures and I saw them immediately. All 4 of them standing at the curb with their matching luggage sets. Bradley and Gary were laughing about something. Jenna was taking a selfie, and Mom was checking her phone, looking annoyed. I walked up to them, and my voice came out way higher than I wanted. Mom. We need to talk. She looked up and her face went through this rapid series of emotions. Surprise, then guilt, then annoyance. Cassidy, what are you doing here? What do you mean, what am I doing here? I demanded. We're supposed to fly to Hawaii today? Remember? You booked my ticket? Except you didn't book my ticket, you booked everyone else's. With my money? Gary stepped forward. Cassidy, lower your voice. People are staring. I don't care about people staring, I said, and I could feel tears starting, but I was too angry to be embarrassed. Mom charged $3,440 to my credit card. Without telling me. I'm negative in my account. I can't pay rent. I can't buy food. And none of you have a ticket for me. Mom's face hardened. I tried to book your ticket, she said coldly. Multiple times. Your card kept getting declined. That's not true, I said. The charges went through. Just not for me. For you. For Bradley. For Jenna. Gary looked uncomfortable. Patricia, what is she talking about? Mom turned to him. I have no idea. Her card must have had issues. Bradley groaned. Dude, this is so embarrassing. Can we just get inside? We're going to miss our flight. I felt like I was losing my mind. You all have tickets, right? You all checked in? They looked at each other. Jenna nodded. Yeah, we checked in last night online. So Mom used my card to buy your tickets, I said, hearing my voice crack. But somehow my ticket doesn't exist. Does anyone see a problem with that? Mom sighed like I was being the most unreasonable person in the world. Cassidy, I don't know what happened. Technology can be finicky, but we need to get going. What about me? I asked. What am I supposed to do? Mom's eyes were ice. I guess you'll need to buy a ticket at the counter. Bradley snorted. Good luck with that. These flights book up months in advance. I walked over to the airline desk, my legs feeling like jelly. The woman behind the counter looked tired already, and it wasn't even 8 in the morning. Hi, I said. I need to buy a ticket on the 10:30 flight to Maui. She typed for a moment. I'm sorry, that flight is completely full. We don't have any seats available. When's the next flight? I asked desperately. She checked. We have one in 2 days, but it's $1,200. $1,200. I didn't have $1,200. I didn't have $12. I turned back to my family. They were already walking towards security. Mom, I called out. She paused and turned around. Her face was set in that expression that meant she was done with this conversation. I told you, Cassidy, she said, loud enough that people around us could definitely hear. If you cannot afford it, stay behind. I begged my way here. Mom, please. You took my money. She shook her head. I tried to help you. It's not my fault things didn't work out. Now if you'll excuse us, we have a plane to catch. Gary put his hand on her shoulder and guided her toward the security line. Bradley gave me this look, half pity and half annoyance, then followed them. Jenna was the last one. She walked over to me, and for a second I thought she might actually say something kind. Instead, she said maybe next time save up earlier. Then she turned and walked away too, her new carry-on bag with the designer logo swinging from her shoulder. I stood there in the middle of Portland International Airport, watching my family disappear through security. Not one of them looked back. Around me, families were hugging goodbye, kids were excited about vacations, couples were holding hands, and I was alone. I found a bench and sat down, pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opened my bank app one more time. That negative number stared back at me. Then my phone buzzed. Another notification from the credit card company. Your payment of $430 is now past due. My minimum payment. It missed it because there was no money in the account to cover it. My credit score was probably tanking as I sat there. I put my head in my hands and let myself cry. Really cry. The kind of crying where you can't catch your breath and your whole body shakes. An older woman walked by and touched my shoulder. Are you okay, honey? No, I said. I'm really not. She sat down next to me. Want to talk about it? So I told her. This complete stranger in an airport. I told her everything. About my family. About working myself to death for 3 months. About my mom stealing from me. About being left behind. She listened to the whole thing, then she reached into her purse and pulled out a $20 bill. This isn't much, she said, but go get yourself some food, and then call someone who loves you. Because those people don't. I took the 20 and thanked her, crying harder. She patted my hand and left. I sat there for another hour, watching planes take off through the window. One of them had my family on it, flying to Hawaii, probably already forgetting I existed. I finally called Deanna. She answered on the first ring. Where are you? At the airport, I said. I didn't go. They left me behind. She swore. I'm coming to get you right now. Stay there. But then my phone buzzed again. Another bank notification. This one made my blood run cold. Insufficient funds fee, $35. For each charge that overdrafted my account. 1, 2, 3, 4 fees. $140 in fees on top of everything else. I looked down at the $20 bill the stranger had given me. This was all I had in the world right now. $20 and a family that didn't want me. Deanna picked me up 40 minutes later. I climbed into her car and she took one look at me and didn't say anything. Just drove. We ended up at her apartment in North Portland, this cozy one-bedroom place with plants everywhere and string lights on the balcony. She made me tea that I didn't drink and wrapped a blanket around my shoulders even though it was July. Then she sat across from me and said, "Okay, show me everything." I pulled out my phone with hands that wouldn't stop shaking, Opened my banking app. Deanna leaned forward and her face went from concern to furious in about 3 seconds. She grabbed my phone and started scrolling through the transactions. July 9th. 3 tickets at $860 each. That's $2,580. July 11th. Wylia Resort Spa Package, $680. July 12th. Paradise Car Rentals, $180. She looked up at me. Cass, this is theft. Like actual criminal theft. But I gave her my card number, I whispered. Doesn't that mean I authorized it? You authorized her to book your flight, Deanna said. 1 ticket. Not 3 tickets and a spa day and a rental car. That's fraud. You need to call your bank right now and dispute these charges. I felt sick. If I dispute it, Mom will know. So what? Deanna practically shouted. She stole $3,000 from you. Who cares if she knows? She's still my mom, I said weakly. Deanna's expression softened a little. She sat down next to me and took my hand. You can't pay rent. You're negative in your account. You have overdraft fees piling up. If you don't fix this now, you're going to lose your apartment. I knew she was right. I'd been trying so hard not to think about the practical reality of what had just happened. But it was unavoidable now. In 3 weeks, rent would be due, and I had less than $0 to pay it. Okay, I said. Okay, help me call. Deanna handed me back my phone and I dialed the number on the back of my credit card. The automated system made me punch in my card number and social security number and answer a bunch of security questions. Then it put me on hold with music that made me want to throw my phone out the window. 30 minutes later, a human finally answered. This is Jennifer. How can I help you today? Her voice was chipper in a way that made me feel even worse. I need to dispute some charges, I said. My voice cracked. Someone used my card without permission. Okay, Jennifer said, and I heard typing. Can you tell me which charges? I read off the dates and amounts. All 4 transactions. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. Okay, so these charges total $3,440. Is that correct? Yes, I said. And you're saying these were unauthorized? That's where it got complicated. Well, I said slowly. I gave my mother my card information because she said she was booking a plane ticket for me. But instead she used it to buy tickets for herself and other family members and other things. And she didn't book a ticket for me at all. I see, Jennifer said, and her voice was more cautious now. So you did voluntarily provide your card information to her? Yes, but only because she said it was for my ticket. She lied about what she was going to use it for. There was more typing. Did you authorize her as a user on your account? No, I said. She put herself down as an authorized user when she made the purchases. But I didn't give her permission to do that. Jennifer sighed. This is a difficult situation. Because you did provide the card information voluntarily, it's not a straightforward case of theft. However, if she misrepresented what the charges were for, that could constitute fraud. I'm going to open a dispute for you. But I need to be honest. These cases can be hard to win if the cardholder gave the information willingly. What do I do then? I asked. I felt like I was drowning. I can't pay this. I don't have this kind of money. Jennifer's voice softened. My recommendation would be to file a police report for fraud. If you can show that she deliberately deceived you about the purpose of the charges, that will strengthen your case with us. We'll also put a temporary credit on your account for $2,000 while we investigate. That won't cover everything, but it will help. $2,000. That would at least get me out of the negative. When will that post? I asked. It should show up in your account within 24 to 48 hours, Jennifer said. And the investigation will take 60 to 90 days. In the meantime, I'd recommend changing your card number so no additional charges can be made. Yes, I said. Please do that. Jennifer processed everything and gave me a reference number. When we hung up, I looked at Deanna. They're giving me a temporary credit for $2,000. It's not everything, but it's something. That's good, Deanna said. Now let's gather evidence. We spent the rest of that afternoon building a case. Deanna was incredibly organized. She made a spreadsheet with dates, times, and details of every interaction ID had with Mom about the trip. I went through my text messages and screenshotted everything. The conversation where Mom first asked for my card number. Her messages saying she was booking my ticket. Her message saying the website was glitchy. Every single one. Then Deanna remembered something. "Don't you have that call recording app?" I did. I'd downloaded it months ago for work calls with difficult clients. I opened it and searched for calls with Mom. There it was, July 7th. The call where Shed asked for my card information. I hit play and her voice filled Deanna's apartment. "I'll book your flight for you. You can pay me back slowly over the next few months." My own voice, hopeful and grateful. "That's really nice, Mom." Then the crucial part. "I need to use your credit card to book it." "My credit card? Why not yours?" Mom's response. "It's complicated, honey. Gary and I are reorganizing our finances. My cards are maxed out temporarily." I paused the recording. She said she was booking my flight. She said I could pay her back for my ticket. She never once mentioned booking for everyone else. Deanna was nodding vigorously. "This is perfect, Cass. This proves she lied. Send this to the bank. Send this to everyone." I spent the next hour compiling everything into a detailed email. I attached screenshots, the audio file, and a timeline of events. I sent it to the credit card company's dispute department. Then I sat back and felt absolutely exhausted. Deanna ordered pizza, and we tried to watch a movie, but I couldn't focus. My phone kept buzzing with notifications. More overdraft fees, a text from my landlord asking about August rent, a promotional email from the airline offering cheap flights to Hawaii. I wanted to throw my phone in the river. Then, around 9 that night, my phone rang. "Mom." I stared at the screen. Deanna looked at me. "You don't have to answer." But I did. I needed to hear what she had to say. I answered and put it on speaker so Deanna could hear. "Cassidy," Mom said, and her voice was tight with anger. "What the hell did you do?" "What did I do?" I asked. "Mom, you stole from me." "I did no such thing," she snapped. "You gave me your card. You authorized those purchases." "For my ticket," I said. "You told me you were booking my ticket. Not tickets for you and Bradley and Jenna, not a spa package, not a rental car. You lied to me." "I don't appreciate being accused of lying," Mom said. "I was trying to help you." "By bankrupting me?" I asked. "Mom, I'm negative in my account. I can't pay rent. I can't buy groceries. How is that helping me?" "You should have been more responsible with your money," Mom said, like she was talking to a child. "This wouldn't have happened if you'd been more organized." I felt something snap inside me. I've been working 14-hour days for 3 months trying to afford this trip. I ate nothing but ramen and peanut butter sandwiches. I gave up everything so I could be part of this family vacation. And you repaid me by stealing my money and leaving me at the airport like garbage. How dare you call me irresponsible?" "Cassidy, you're being dramatic," Mom said. "This is why we have these problems. You blow everything out of proportion." "The bank is investigating you for fraud," I said flatly. "They're going to reverse those charges. You're going to have to pay back that money." There was silence on the other end. Then Mom's voice came back, colder than I'd ever heard it. "You called the bank on me? You reported me? What did you think I was going to do?" I asked. "Just let you steal $3,000 and say nothing?" "You're my daughter," Mom said. "You're supposed to be loyal to family." "This is unforgivable." "Unforgivable," I repeated. I started laughing, and it sounded slightly unhinged even to me. "You steal my money. You abandon me at an airport, and I'm the one being unforgiving?" Mom made a sound of disgust. "I'm not having this conversation. I'm in Hawaii with my real family and you're ruining our vacation with your drama. I'll deal with you when I get back." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there holding my phone, staring at the blank screen. Her real family. Not me. Never me. I'd always known it on some level, but hearing her say it out loud was like being punched in the stomach. Deanna's arms were around me before I even realized I'd started crying again. "That woman is poison," she said fiercely. "You deserve so much better." "I know," I whispered. "I finally know." The next morning, I woke up on Deanna's couch feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head pounded, my eyes were swollen. My phone was at 5% battery and had 37 notifications I didn't want to look at. Deanna was already up, making coffee in her tiny kitchen. She handed me a mug when I sat up. "How'd you sleep?" she asked. "I didn't," I said honestly. "I kept having dreams that I was drowning and everyone was just watching from the shore." Deanna sat down next to me. "Today we're going to fix this," she said with determination. "We're going to make sure you get your money back, and that woman faces consequences." I nodded, but I felt numb. The temporary credit hadn't hit my account yet. I was still negative, still drowning. Deanna must have seen it on my face because she said, "I talked to Harper and Lila and Seth last night. We're all helping." "What do you mean?" I asked. "We're setting up a fund for you," she said. "Just to get you through until the bank resolves this." I immediately started shaking my head. "No, I can't take your money. It's not just mine," Deanna interrupted. "We're all contributing. Harper's putting in 100. Lila's putting in 75. Seth is putting in 50. And I'm putting in 200. That's 425 right there. Plus I'm going to set up a GoFundMe to help cover the rest." "No," I said firmly. "This is humiliating enough without asking strangers for money." "Cass," Deanna said, grabbing my shoulders and making me look at her. "You were the victim of financial abuse. That's what this is. Your mother abused you financially. There's no shame in asking for help when someone does that to you." The words financial abuse hit me hard. I'd never thought of it that way, but that's exactly what it was. Shed manipulated me, lied to me, stolen from me, used my desperate need for family acceptance as a weapon against me. And now I was paying the price while she sipped Mai Tais on a beach in Maui. "Okay," I said quietly. "Okay. Thank you." Deanna hugged me tight. "We're your real family," she said. "Remember that." Over the next few days, I focused on building the strongest case possible. I called the police non-emergency line and filed a fraud report. The officer I spoke with was sympathetic but warned me that these cases rarely result in prosecution when it's family. "However," he said, "having the police report will help with your credit card dispute." He took all my information and gave me a case number. I also started documenting everything that had happened at the airport. I wrote down every word I could remember from that conversation, the exact time they'd walked away, how Bradley had called it embarrassing, how Mom had told me to stay behind if I couldn't afford it. I even called the airline and asked if they could pull security footage from that morning, though they said they couldn't release it without a subpoena. I tried anyway. Every piece of evidence mattered. My phone was blowing up with messages from Hawaii. Not from Mom, of course. She'd gone silent after our phone call. But the extended family group chat, the one with all my aunts and uncles and cousins, was very active. My Aunt Linda had posted, "Having the most amazing time in Maui with Patricia and the family." Someone else commented, "Where's Cassidy? I heard she was supposed to come." Then my cousin Marcus, "Yeah, what happened to Cassidy? Did she bail?" Before I could even think about how to respond, Bradley jumped in. "Cassidy had some last-minute money problems and couldn't make it. Total bummer." I stared at that message. Money problems. Like it was my fault. Like I was just irresponsible. Not like his mother had stolen from me. I typed out a response. "Actually, I couldn't come because Patricia used my credit card to buy tickets for herself, Bradley, and Jenna without my permission, leaving me negative in my account and unable to purchase my own ticket. Then I deleted it. What was the point? They wouldn't believe me anyway." But my Aunt Linda must have sensed something because she private messaged me. "Sweetie, what really happened? Are you okay?" I debated ignoring her, but something made me tell the truth. I explained everything. The months of working myself to exhaustion, Mom asking for my card, the charges I didn't authorize, being left at the airport. Linda was silent for a long time. Then she called me. "Cassidy," she said, and her voice was shaking. "I'm so sorry. I had no idea Patricia would do something like this. This is unacceptable." It felt good to have at least one family member on my side. Linda said she'd talked to Mom when they all got together for dinner that night. I told her not to bother. "It won't change anything," I said. "She's not going to suddenly realize what she did was wrong." Linda disagreed, but I knew I was right. Mom would spin this somehow, make herself the victim, make me the villain. That's what she always did. Meanwhile, Deanna had posted the GoFundMe. She had written a careful description that didn't name names but told the story. Our friend Cassidy was a victim of family financial abuse. She worked for 3 months to save money for a family vacation, only to have a family member use her credit card to make over $3,000 in unauthorized purchases for other people. Now she's facing eviction and can't afford basic necessities while she fights to get her money back. Any help is appreciated. I was mortified when I first saw it. But then the donations started coming in. $5 from someone named Jennifer, $10 from Mark, $20 from Susan with a note that said, "I went through something similar with my brother. You're not alone." $50 from someone who just put anonymous. Within the first day, WED raised $300. By the second day, it was up to $800. People I'd never met were helping me. Strangers who understood what it felt like to be betrayed by family. Harper, Lila, and Seth came over to Deanna's apartment on the third day. They brought groceries. Real groceries. Fresh vegetables and fruit and bread that wasn't stale and chicken breast and pasta. Lila also brought a gift card to Target for $50. "For whatever you need," she said. "Shampoo, toothpaste, whatever." Seth handed me an envelope. "My cousin Bethany is a paralegal," he said. "She works for a firm that does family law. I told her about your situation and she wants to help. Pro bono. This has her number. Call her." I started crying again, which seemed to be all I did anymore. "You guys don't have to do this." "Yes, we do," Harper said. "Because we love you. And because what happened to you is wrong." Later that night, I called Bethany. She answered on the second ring, and her voice was warm and professional. "Seth told me what happened," she said. "I'm so sorry you're going through this. First question, do you want to pursue legal action against your mother?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks it'll just make everything worse." "Here's what I can tell you," Bethany said. "You have a strong case for fraud. The recording where she says she's booking your ticket is crucial evidence. The fact that she made herself an authorized user without your explicit permission is also important. You could absolutely press charges or file a civil suit to recover the money plus damages. However, these cases are expensive and emotionally draining, especially when family is involved. My advice? Wait and see what the credit card company does. If they rule in your favor, you'll get your money back without having to go to court. If they don't, then we talk about next steps." That made sense. I didn't have the energy or money for a lawsuit anyway. "Thank you," I said. "Really." "No problem," Bethany said. "And Cassidy? Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. What your mother did was a crime. Period." After we hung up, I checked my bank account. The temporary credit had finally posted $2,000. I was back in the positive. Not by much, but enough to breathe for a moment. I paid my rent immediately, even though it wasn't due for 2 more weeks. I couldn't risk anything happening to my apartment. Then I bought groceries with the gift card Lila had given me. Walking through Target felt surreal. I stood in the pasta aisle for 10 minutes trying to decide between penne and rigatoni, and then I just started laughing. 3 days ago I thought my life was over. Now I was standing in Target holding 2 boxes of pasta like it was the best day of my life. People probably thought I was insane. I didn't care. That night, I cooked dinner for the first time in weeks. Real dinner. Pasta with marinara sauce and vegetables. I ate it sitting on Deanna's couch, and it tasted like hope. The GoFundMe kept growing. By the end of the week, it had reached $1,450. I couldn't believe it. Deanna showed me some of the comments people had left. "This happened to me with my sister. Sending love. My ex-husband did this to me. Stay strong. Family isn't always blood. You've got this." Reading those messages, I realized I wasn't alone. So many people had experienced some version of what I was going through. Betrayal, manipulation, financial abuse, and they'd survived, which meant I could too. Harper organized a dinner at her place that Saturday. She invited me, Deanna, Lila, and Seth. When I walked in, there was a banner hanging in her living room that said, "We love you, Cass." I burst into tears immediately. Harper hugged me. "We wanted you to know you have a family," she said. "It's us." We had dinner together. Real homemade lasagna that Lila had made. And for a few hours I forgot about everything. We laughed. We told stories. Seth did impressions of terrible clients we'd all dealt with in our freelance work. Lila showed us photos from her recent trip to Crater Lake. At one point, Harper raised her glass. "To Cassidy," she said. "The strongest person I know. Even when you don't feel strong, you are." "To Cassidy," everyone echoed. I had to excuse myself to the bathroom because I was crying again, happy tears this time. When I came back, Deanna had her laptop open. "We want to help you figure out your next steps," she said. "Financially and emotionally." So we made a plan. I needed to make $1,100 for rent every month, plus about $300 for utilities, phone, internet, plus food and gas. Call it $1,600 total. With the temporary credit and the GoFundMe money, I had enough to cover August, but I needed steady income for September and beyond. "I still have my freelance clients," I said. "I can pick up projects." "How many hours can you realistically work without burning out again?" Lila asked. I thought about it. Probably 40 to 50 hours a week, sustainably. "Okay," Seth said. "So let's figure out how much you need to charge per hour to hit $1,600 a month." We did math together. If I worked 45 hours a week, that's about 180 hours a month. 1,600 divided by 180 is about $9 per hour. But that didn't account for taxes or slow months. "You need to charge at least $15 to $20 per hour," Harper said. "Which means you need clients who value your work. No more $50 logos. No more undercharging." I nodded. That made sense. But finding clients who paid well was hard. Harper had an idea. "What if we help you market yourself? I have a friend who does social media consulting. Lila knows someone at a startup incubator who's always looking for designers. Seth can connect you with people in the tech industry. Let's leverage our networks." Over the next 2 hours, they helped me completely revamp my portfolio website. They edited my project descriptions to sound more professional. They helped me write cold outreach emails to potential clients. By the end of the night, I had a list of 15 companies to contact and a plan to post my work on Instagram and LinkedIn every day. "Thank you," I said, for probably the 20th time. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "You don't repay family," Deanna said. "You just pay it forward someday." Monday morning, I started reaching out to new clients. I'd been so focused on survival mode that I'd forgotten what it felt like to actually value my own work. I sent 10 cold emails with my new polished portfolio. I got 3 responses within 24 hours. One wanted a logo and brand package for $800. Another needed social media graphics on retainer for $300 per month. The third wanted to talk about a website redesign. Real money, real projects. Not panic projects where I undercharged just to make ends meet. I also started therapy. Lila had recommended her therapist, a woman named Dr. Kim, who specialized in family trauma. Insurance covered most of it, so I only had to pay $30 per session. I was skeptical at first, but that first appointment changed something in me. Dr. Kim let me talk for 45 minutes straight. About my childhood. About losing my dad. About never feeling good enough for Mom. About the Hawaii trip and everything that happened. When I finished, she said something I'll never forget. "Cassidy, you've been looking for your mother's love in all the wrong places. You've been trying to earn something that should have been freely given. It's not your fault that she can't love you the way you deserve. But it is your responsibility to stop putting yourself in situations where she can hurt you." That hit hard. Because she was right. I'd been chasing Mom's approval for 13 years, ever since Gary and Bradley came into our lives. Longer, probably. And no matter what I did, it was never enough. I was never enough. Not because I wasn't worthy, but because Mom was incapable of seeing me. Dr. Kim gave me homework. Write a letter to your mother. Don't send it. Just write everything you wish you could say. So I did. I spent 3 hours that night pouring my heart onto paper. I wrote about feeling abandoned, about being treated like I was less than Bradley, about working myself sick trying to afford that trip, about the betrayal of what she'd done with my credit card, about standing in that airport alone. When I finished, I had 4 pages of raw emotion, and I felt lighter. I didn't need to send it to Mom. She wouldn't understand anyway. But I needed to get it out of me. I folded up the letter and put it in a drawer. Then I made myself a promise. I was done chasing her. Done trying to prove myself to people who would never appreciate me. I had real family now. Harper, Lila, Seth, Deanna. They'd shown me what love actually looked like. The GoFundMe ended up raising a total of $1,450. With that and the temporary credit, I had enough money to feel secure for the first time in months. I sent thank you messages to everyone who had donated. I posted an update saying how much their kindness meant. And I started thinking about the future instead of just surviving the present. Mom and the family were supposed to return from Hawaii on July 25th. 10 days in paradise, all paid for with my stolen money. Well, temporarily. Because the credit card investigation was still ongoing, and I'd sent them so much evidence that I was confident they'd rule in my favor. Bethany had told me that credit card companies almost always side with the cardholder in cases of fraud, especially with the kind of proof I had. Still, those 10 days felt like forever. I blocked Mom's number because I couldn't handle any more manipulation. I blocked Bradley and Jenna too. Gary I left unblocked because he'd never been outright cruel to me, just passive. On July 26th, my Aunt Linda called. "They're back," she said. "And Cassidy, your mother is furious." "About what?" I asked, though I knew. "The credit card company contacted her," Linda said. "They're reversing the charges. All of them. She has to pay back the money." "Good," I said flatly. "That's what happens when you commit fraud." Linda sighed. "I talked to her like I said I would. She insisted you gave her permission. I tried to explain that you didn't give permission for all those charges, but she wouldn't listen. She's telling everyone you're trying to ruin her life." "Of course she is," I said. "I'm the villain in her story. I always have been." Linda was quiet for a moment. "For what it's worth, I believe you. And am ashamed I didn't see this pattern sooner. She's always treated you differently than Bradley, and I made excuses for it." "Thank you for saying that," I said, and I meant it. It helped to have at least one family member acknowledge the truth. Linda said Mom was planning to come over to my apartment to talk. "I don't want to see her," I said immediately. "You don't have to," Linda said. "You can tell her to leave if she shows up." 2 days later, on a Thursday evening, there was a knock on my apartment door. I'd moved back to my own place from Deanna's couch, and I was in the middle of cooking dinner when I heard it. I looked through the peephole and my stomach dropped. Mom. She was standing there in her traveling clothes, looking tired and annoyed. I debated not answering, but I knew she'd just keep coming back. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. "What do you want?" I asked. "Can I come in?" she asked. "We need to talk." "No," I said. "You can say whatever you need to say from right there." Mom's jaw tightened. "Fine. Cassidy, this has gone too far. The bank reversed the charges. Do you have any idea what that does to my credit? Do you have any idea what you did to mine?" I shot back. "Mom, you stole $3,440 from me. You left me unable to pay rent, unable to buy food. I could have been evicted. I didn't steal anything," Mom insisted. "You gave me your card." "To book my ticket," I said slowly, like I was talking to a child. "1 ticket for me, not 3 tickets for you and Bradley and Jenna. Not a spa package, not a rental car. You lied to me." "I was going to pay you back," Mom said, but her voice lacked conviction. "When?" I demanded. "How? You didn't even tell me you'd used my card until I found out myself. You didn't apologize. You didn't try to make it right. You just left me at that airport and went on vacation." "That's because you embarrassed me," Mom snapped. "Making a scene in front of everyone, accusing me of things." "I accused you because you're guilty," I said, "and I'm done pretending otherwise." Mom's face went cold. "I'm your mother. You owe me respect. Respect is earned," I said, "and you've done nothing to earn mine. In fact, you've spent the last 13 years making it clear that I don't matter to you. That Bradley is more important. That your new family with Gary is more valuable than your relationship with me." "That's not true," Mom said. but she couldn't even look me in the eye when she said it. It is true, I said. And I have proof. I've kept every text message, every voicemail, every interaction where you chose them over me, where you dismissed me or belittled me or made me feel like I wasn't enough. You're being dramatic, Mom said, her default response to any real emotion. In being honest, I corrected her. For the first time in my life, in being completely honest about how you've treated me. And you can't handle it because it means looking at yourself and admitting you were a bad mother. How dare you, Mom said, her voice rising. After everything I've done for you, everything you've sacrificed. What did you sacrifice? I asked. Dad died, and you moved on. You found Gary and Bradley and you built a new family and I was just, what, leftover baggage from your first marriage? That's not fair, Mom said. And for the first time, she actually looked hurt. You're right, I said. It's not fair. None of this has been fair. But I'm done. I'm done trying to earn your love. I'm done working myself to death to prove I deserve a place in this family. I'm done being treated like I'm less than Bradley just because he's Gary's son. Mom was shaking her head. You're going to regret this, she said. Family is everything, Cassidy. Someday you'll realize that and it'll be too late. You're not my family anymore, I said, and saying those words out loud felt like dropping a weight I'd been carrying for years. Deanna and Harper and Lila and Seth, they're my family. They're the ones who showed up when I needed help. They're the ones who actually care about me, not you. Mom's eyes flashed with anger. Fine, she said, if that's how you feel, but don't come crying to me when you need something. I won't, I said. Goodbye, Mom. She stared at me for a long moment, like she was waiting for me to crack, to take it back, to apologize. When I didn't, she turned and walked away. I closed the door and leaned against it, my heart pounding. Then I called Deanna. I did it, I said when she answered. I told her off. I told her everything. How do you feel? Deanna asked. Terrified, I admitted. But also, like I can finally breathe. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation in my head. Had I been too harsh? Should I have given her another chance? But then I remembered something Dr. Kim had said in therapy. You cannot have a healthy relationship with someone who refuses to acknowledge the harm they've caused. Mom would never acknowledge it. She'd never apologize. She'd never change. And that wasn't my fault or my responsibility to fix. 3 weeks later, I got the final notification from the credit card company. After a thorough investigation, we have ruled in your favor. The disputed charges totaling $3,440 have been permanently reversed and credited back to your account. The responsible party has been notified, and their account has been flagged for fraudulent activity. I read that email 5 times to make sure it was real. I'd won. The money was back in my account. All of it. Plus the overdraft fees had been refunded. I was whole again. Financially, at least. I immediately paid off the temporary credit they'd given me. That left me with about $1,400 in my account, plus the GoFundMe money I'd barely touched. I was going to be okay. Better than okay. I'd survived. I heard through the family grapevine that Mom was having trouble opening new credit cards now, that her credit score had tanked, that she and Gary were fighting about money. Part of me felt guilty, but a bigger part of me knew she'd brought this on herself. Actions have consequences, even for mothers. I blocked her number permanently. Blocked Bradley and Jenna. Blocked most of the extended family who'd sided with her or stayed silent. The only ones I kept in contact with were Aunt Linda and one cousin who'd reached out privately to say she believed me and was proud of me for standing up for myself. It's been 4 months since everything happened. It's November now and Portland is cold and rainy, but I don't mind. I've always liked the rain. It feels cleansing somehow. My life looks completely different than it did back in March, when this nightmare started. First, the practical stuff. My freelance business is actually thriving. Those connections Harper and Seth and Lila made for me turned into real, ongoing clients. I'm now making about $4,200 a month, which is more than I've ever made. I was able to move into a better apartment, a 1-bedroom in Selwood with actual heat and windows that don't leak. It costs $1,300 a month, but I can afford it now. I also paid back everyone who'd contributed to the GoFundMe, even though they all insisted I didn't have to. It felt important. They'd saved me when I was drowning, and I wanted them to know I didn't take that for granted. Harper threw me a little party when I handed her a check. "This is what family does," she said. "We lift each other up." My credit score recovered. It took a few months, but it's back to where it was before. Maybe even a little better because I'd been so careful about paying everything on time. The fraud flag on Mom's account stayed, though. I heard she tried to dispute it, but the evidence against her was too strong. The recording of her saying she'd book my ticket, the text messages, the police report, all of it painted a clear picture. I haven't spoken to Mom since that day she showed up at my apartment. She tried calling a few times from different numbers, but I never answered. Bradley sent me an angry email blaming me for ruining Mom's credit and causing problems in their family. I deleted it without responding. What could I possibly say? "Sorry, your mom faced consequences for stealing from me?" "No thanks." But the biggest changes have been internal. I started seeing Dr. Kim weekly, and it's been life-changing. We've unpacked so much about my relationship with Mom, about my desperate need for approval, about the patterns I'd fallen into of accepting crumbs of affection and calling it love. She helped me see that I'd been in survival mode for so long that I'd forgotten what it felt like to actually live. One breakthrough came about 6 weeks ago. Dr. Kim asked me to describe my ideal family. Not the family I had, but the family I wished I had. I described people who showed up for each other, who celebrated each other's successes, who helped during hard times without keeping score, who loved unconditionally, not transactionally. And then Dr. Kim pointed out that I already had that family. It just wasn't blood-related. Harper, Lila, Seth, Deanna. Those 4 people had shown me more genuine love and support in 3 months than Mom had shown me in 28 years. That's when it really clicked for me. Family isn't about DNA or last names or who raised you. It's about who shows up. It's about who sees you struggling and says, "Here, let me help." It's about who celebrates your wins like they're their own. It's about who tells you the truth even when it's hard because they want what's best for you. I started a blog in September. Dr. Kim had suggested journaling, but I wanted to do something more. I wanted to share my story in case it helped someone else who was going through something similar. I called it Reclaiming Myself, and I wrote about everything. The financial abuse, the emotional manipulation, the process of setting boundaries, the guilt that came with cutting off family, the fear that I was making a mistake, the relief when I realized I wasn't. Within a month, the blog had 1,000 followers. People commented saying, "This is my story too," or "Thank you for putting words to what I experienced," or "I needed to hear this today." It was incredibly validating. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't ungrateful. I wasn't a bad daughter. I was a survivor of abuse, and I was rebuilding my life on my own terms. One post in particular went viral. I titled it, "The Hawaii Trip That Changed Everything," and I told the whole story. Names changed, obviously, but every detail laid out. The months of grinding, the $860 flight, Mom asking for my card, the charges, the airport scene, the aftermath. It got shared thousands of times. News outlets reached out asking if they could interview me. A podcast about family estrangement wanted me as a guest. I said yes to some and no to others, depending on whether I felt they'd treat the story with respect. Through all of this, I was learning what it meant to value myself, to believe that I deserved better, to stop making excuses for people who hurt me. Last month, I got an email from a nonprofit organization called Family Forward that works with survivors of familial financial abuse. They asked if I'd be willing to speak at a conference they were hosting in December about my experience. My first instinct was to say no. Public speaking terrified me, and I wasn't sure I wanted to be that vulnerable in front of strangers. But then I thought about all the people who'd commented on my blog saying I felt so alone until I read this. If sharing my story could help even one person feel less alone, wasn't that worth it? So I said yes. The conference is in 3 weeks, and I'm nervous but also excited. I've been working with Deanna on my speech. She's helped me figure out what message I want to leave people with. It's not a revenge story, even though parts of it feel satisfying in that way. It's a story about survival. about finding your worth, about building a chosen family, about the long, difficult process of healing from people who were supposed to protect you. Thanksgiving is coming up, and for the first time in years, I'm not dreading it. Harper is hosting, and it's going to be me, Deanna, Lila, Seth, and a few other friends. We're doing a potluck. I'm making mashed potatoes and a pumpkin pie. We'll probably watch football and play board games, and it'll be perfect, precisely because there's no obligation or tension or walking on eggshells. I wonder sometimes if Mom thinks about me, if she regrets what she did, if she misses having me in her life at all. I'll probably never know, and I'm learning to be okay with that. Closure doesn't always come from the other person. Sometimes you have to create it yourself. I've written and rewritten that unsent letter to her a dozen times. Each version gets a little less angry and a little more sad. Not sad that I lost her, but sad that I never really had her to begin with. Sad for the little girl I was who just wanted her mom to choose her. But that little girl is healing now. She's learning that she was always enough, that the problem was never her. Last week I did something I've been wanting to do for months. I booked a trip. Just for me. A long weekend in Seattle to visit some college friends I haven't seen in years. The flight was $300 and I booked it without flinching, without checking my account 17 times, without panicking about what if something goes wrong. I'm leaving next Friday and I cannot wait. This will be my first real vacation in years, one I'm taking because I want to, not because I'm trying to prove something to anyone. As I sit here on my balcony overlooking the Willamette River, drinking coffee and watching the November rain, I think about how different my life is from where I thought it would be. I thought family was supposed to be forever. I thought blood ties meant something sacred. I thought if I just tried hard enough, loved hard enough, proved myself enough, it'd finally be accepted. I was wrong about all of that. But I was right about one thing. I am strong. Stronger than I ever knew. Strong enough to walk away from people who hurt me, even when society says I shouldn't. Strong enough to build a new life from scratch. Strong enough to ask for help. Strong enough to keep going. The journey isn't over. I still have hard days where I miss having a mom. Or at least miss the idea of having a mom who actually cared. I still sometimes wonder if I should have handled things differently. But those moments are getting fewer and farther between. They're being replaced by moments of genuine happiness, of pride in how far I've come, of gratitude for the people who've held me up, of hope for whatever comes next. I know some people will read my story and think I was too harsh, that I should have given Mom more chances, that family is supposed to forgive, and maybe they're right in their world. But in my world, forgiveness doesn't mean accepting ongoing harm. It doesn't mean setting myself on fire to keep someone else warm. It means letting go of the anger so it doesn't poison me, but still maintaining boundaries to protect myself. Mom made her choices. She chose to lie, to steal, to manipulate, to abandon me at that airport, to never apologize. Those were her choices, and she has to live with the consequences. Just like I have to live with my choice to walk away. But here's the thing. I can live with my choice. I sleep fine at night now. My conscience is clear. I protected myself. I stood up for myself. I built a life I'm proud of. That's more than enough. So if you're reading this or listening to this and you're in a similar situation, here's what I want you to know. You are not obligated to maintain relationships with people who hurt you, even if they're family, especially if they're family. You deserve to be treated with respect and kindness and love. You deserve to have your boundaries honored. You deserve to surround yourself with people who see your worth. And if walking away makes you the villain in someone else's story, so be it. Let them tell their version. You know the truth. The people who matter know the truth. That's what counts. Build your chosen family. Find your people. The ones who show up. The ones who celebrate you. The ones who have your back when everything falls apart. Those are the relationships worth investing in. Not the ones that drain you. Not the ones that require you to shrink yourself. Not the ones where love is conditional on your silence or compliance. I'm not going to lie and say everything is perfect now. I still have moments where I feel that old familiar ache of wanting my mom to be different. Wanting her to call and say she's sorry. Wanting her to see me, really see me, for who I am. But those moments don't define me anymore. They're just moments. They pass. And what remains is this life I've built. This strong, beautiful, imperfect life with people who choose me every single day. So yeah, my mom used my credit card to steal $3,440 and left me stranded at an airport. And it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But it was also the catalyst for the best thing. It forced me to finally see the truth I'd been avoiding for years. It pushed me to set boundaries I should have set long ago. It brought people into my life who showed me what real family looks like. And for that, as twisted as it sounds, I'm almost grateful. Not grateful to her, but grateful for the journey it started me on. The journey toward myself. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to cut ties with toxic family members? How did you handle it? Drop a comment below and share your story. You might help someone else who's struggling with the same decision. And if this story resonated with you at all, please hit that like button. It really helps get this message out to more people who might need to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'll be sharing more stories about finding strength in difficult situations and building the life you deserve. Share this video with anyone you know who might be going through something similar. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I know it was a long one, but I wanted to give you the full picture. To everyone who's supported me through this journey, whether you donated to the GoFundMe, or just sent a kind message, or simply believed me when I needed it most, thank you, from the bottom of my heart. You saved me in ways you'll never fully understand. And to anyone out there who's currently in a situation like the one I was in, please know this. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of respect. You are worthy of a family that chooses you. And if your blood family can't give you that, it's okay to build your own. It's not giving up. It's not being selfish. It's called survival. It's called self-preservation. It's called knowing your worth. Take care of yourselves out there. Set those boundaries. Protect your peace. And remember, the family you choose can be just as powerful, if not more so, than the family you're born into. Until next time, this is Cassidy, signing off and wishing you all the love and healing you deserve.